So thank you, dear devotees, for joining this evening. What we are discussing here today, of course, is it's a conference follow-up from our March conference earlier. We are the NA Northeast zone. This is our zone right here. It's big. Look at how many centers. We're over 30 temples, centers, farming communities, preaching centers, so on, in our zone. And you can see we're very densely packed, but we want to grow even more. We're just getting started. There's so much space here where there's no dots, and we should cover every place with a dot. We have a lot of density already. What we don't have in our centers is, or what we want to really increase is diversity. So move from density to, of course, more dense, and substantially increase our reach in terms of diversity, ethnic diversity, language, racial, and so on, every kind of background. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult for us to meet our goals of 335 growth vision that we've developed. So with that, I pass it to Anuttam Prabhu, who will give us an overview or high-level importance of this whole diversity outreach program.
Thank you, Madana-gopāla. I'll just mention a few things. I remember reading in the Leelam Rita and in other books, and probably everybody here has seen it, Prabhupada, when he went to San Francisco, the West Coast devotees organized a mantra rock dance. And the East Coast devotees said, no, Swamiji, you can't go there. That's not an appropriate place for you. Those West Coast devotees are too wild. You shouldn't go there. But Prabhupada went, and it was a room described, full of the smoke from marijuana and cigarettes, and people wearing hippie clothes or not wearing hippie clothes. And there were big bands. Janis Joplin, I think, was there. Jefferson Starship, Moby Grape, Grateful Dead even was there. It was like big, big, big bands. And Prabhupada spoke. And even when Prabhupada led when it's time to chant Hare Krishna, Prabhupada didn't actually chant. Anybody remember who chanted? Who led the chanting?
Mother
Take
Yamuna, right?
No,
Mukunda, Prabhu?
no, no. You don't
Allen
all have to be
Ginsberg?
muted. How come we're muted? It's such a small group. You don't have to be muted.
Was it Allen Ginsberg?
Allen Ginsberg, you win the prize. Allen Ginsberg, who probably didn't even know what he didn't. He definitely didn't follow the Four Regular Principles, and he certainly wasn't ashamed of the brahmachari. But Prabhupada knew people could relate to him, and therefore it would be a great way for them to be introduced to Krishna consciousness. And then he gave the talk, but Allen Ginsberg led the chanting. So very important. In the early days of ISKCON, we were mostly hippies and young people. And then gradually we became hippies and young people that had lived in the temple but got married and had kids and lived on the street. And then gradually we started having an Indian congregation, and gradually that Indian congregation became very serious devotees. Gradually they became a large number of the leaders of our movement, and now, our affluent congregations building temples all over the country. So sociologists of religion, they explain, despite what we may think, people join a religious community because of the philosophy. It's not like they're decided that they believe the Bible, but they don't believe the Quran, or they're convinced that Krishna is God on the basis of the Bhagavad Gita. The reason they join a particular religious community, anybody know? We'll have another call out. Who knows? Why do people join a religious community?
How they feel. They feel like they fit in. They feel welcome.
They feel welcome. They feel comfortable. They feel they fit in. In a short, the lingo of the trade, they feel that they're social. They've been socialized. They feel comfortable. That was a perfect answer, Mahaprema. So, we know right now ISKCON's going through a phase. We used to socialize hippies really, really well. Now if a hippie walks in, some young person with a backpack and smelly shoes, we're like, whoa, go away. Is it? We're not tuned into those people right now. Hopefully we don't say go away, but we're not tuned into them. We are very much tuned into the Indian, to the Indian American community. Our prasadam is what they're used to. Our lectures sometimes are what they're used to. The kirtan, everything, they feel comfortable. I've been to a lot of home programs at people's apartments, and there's like a tear-off sheet stuck on the apartment. Raj and whatever, Vinita are having come to our house at 6 o'clock for prashad. They open the door, it smells alike. Everybody's sitting on the floor. They're reading the Bhagavad Gita. They feel comfortable, even if they're atheists. They feel comfortable. So the idea is with ISKCON, just to wrap this up, we're very good right now at socializing, especially socializing people of Indian origin. They feel super comfortable. The philosophy, everything is, they feel great. A lot of times other people don't feel that way. White folks walking in the door feel like, whoa, maybe this is just an Indian temple for Indian people, or black people, or Latino people, or Asian people. Sometimes young women don't feel like, whoa, everybody talking is a man. I don't get it. Or sometimes they stand up and they give the announcements. The devotee that is the editor of ISKCON News now, he says just a few years ago, he first came to the temple and they stood up and made an announcement. He didn't have the slides to do what they're talking about, and everybody got up and left him in the temple room by himself because they ate something like prasadams downstairs. So he didn't know what that was. So these are kind of things if we're not thinking about how to make sure that, as Mahaprema said, women and youth and yogis and people from, East Asia, all these different groups of people, they all need to feel comfortable and feel I fit in here. They have something for me. And when we do that, then people will come back. And if we're not consciously making that arrangement, just like we all know, look at your body type. I've got an old white body. If I walk in a room and it's like full of, 23-year-old black women with kids, I'm like, whoa, I'm in the wrong place. I don't fit in here. But if there's one person that kind of looks like me, talks like me, goes out of the way to talk to me, or even if one of those young black 22-year-old moms goes out of her way to talk to me, make sure that I'm comfortable there, I'll come back again. So that's a basic introduction. It's not just like, hey, we're trying to preach, but we have Indian people, which is fantastic. Last thing, it's not at all that we should slow down or minimize our outreach to people of Indian origin. So many phenomenal devotees. It's the core of our community in the Western countries these days, as well as India, of course. And we don't minimize or cut back on that at all. However, we need to understand we can't just be thinking that we take, the folks that are comfortable with having chole every Sunday, so we have chole every single Sunday because it makes the people that are coming happy. We have to think about what about the people that aren't coming? How do we make them happy? So that's the introduction. Let's think about it. We know that Prabhupada bent over back was a sannyasi from Vrindavan, and still he went to the mantra rock dance. If he can do that, we can certainly figure out how to relate to more black people, white people, Latino people, Asian people, young people, yogis, etc., without having our core Indian congregation feel any less appreciated or important. Over.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that very crisp and very to the point introduction. Gives us a very clear sense of what it's all about, and that's the whole point of this, right? In March, we had the Leaders Conference. Quite a few of you were there, and you saw what we talked about. We made some commitments as a zone to adopt and work on these two. What we call low-hanging fruit, some of the things that Anatama Prabhu just briefly touched upon, how we announce things, how we present ourselves, how we conduct our Sunday feasts, how we set up websites, and so on. And the other one is the Think Gita Zone 2 pilot, the Think Gita program that's been quite successful in the UK. We'll talk a little bit about that and how we can be involved and benefit from that success in our zone. And then recently, one new idea that we've been developing among the leaders and different thinkers in our zone is this Thursday program. What's the Thursday program? It would be a separate program that is aimed toward a more diverse audience. And quite a few centers in the US and Canada are already doing this with a great deal of success. Some of them are doing it for decades even. And they do see a lot of diversity in their participation. So can we create a packaged program where it's called a turnkey solution, where we tell you, these are the best practices, these are pitfalls, and so on, and what aspects of that can you adopt readily if you already have a facility or a temple or a center. And then, of course, next steps, how are we going to develop this? This is just the first of hopefully an ongoing series of gatherings of all of us who are thinkers in this area. What are we what are we going to do with these ideas? How are we going to implement them? Okay. So I'll start with the diverse outreach, low-hanging fruit aspect. We talked about websites and how we run our Sunday feast, right? So when you have a website, I mean all kinds of social media presence as well, Facebook, Instagram, and things like that, WhatsApp messages, announcements. Make it accessible, diverse appeal. Make the photographs something that will be appealing to somebody. A lot of the times our websites are very DD centric and heavy, just lots and lots of DD pictures, and it's good for a particular audience, but may not be particularly appealing to newcomers. Even when explaining schedules and elements, for example, let's take a look at this image from a website, right? These are different images. This is the Arti schedule. Arti Mangalarti, Shingararti, Rajbhogarti. A newcomer, the only word you can recognize is schedule here. Everything else, and maybe the times. 5 a.m. What are they going to do there? Right. So it's good to make this, demystify it. And then some websites is DDs everywhere. DDs are very beautiful, no doubt about it. But for people who are not of this background, they're saying, wow, this group is really into marble dolls. They're really into it. And so, it doesn't mean much to them. You can have a few, of course, but if it's saturated with that. And then, again, your own photographs of your folks, because every ISKCON center, there's always some diversity. Try to get some angles that are representative. So these are some of the ones that are representative. Like this is from Philadelphia. This is Detroit. You can see, there's, I think, diversity. Even the clothes they're wearing, regular clothes, it's t-shirt and jeans and so on, pants. You can take a look at the Bhakti Center website if you like, where the explanations are there. Like if you click on it, they'll tell you what kirtan means and things like that. So we should really consider. These are very low-hanging fruit. It's not difficult to do. We can do this weekend. Like by this weekend, we can make these changes in our websites, in our Facebook pages. So homework for our group. This is a working group. We're going to be working here as a group. We'll take home assignments. We'll contribute with your own ideas. These are just placeholders, and we'll ask you for your ideas, your thoughts and questions on the website and other things. Review websites where easy changes can be made, and then next time when we get back over here, we can discuss what changes we made. And we're hoping to do this on a monthly cadence. I think that's not too much. It's also not too little. Monthly is a good pace in which we can implement some of these changes, especially low-hanging ones. So that's just on websites, and I'm going to come, and then we will pause a little bit later for any thoughts and questions. Then another very easy thing we can start doing right away, starting this Sunday, is how we make the announcements, how we talk to people, how we represent ISKCON, just facing them. So have greeters, have a welcome desk. Most temples do have a welcome desk. See if you can find some diversity in age and diversity of all kinds, as much as possible. The welcome table. Sometimes, even if there's diversity in dressing, like if everybody's wearing dhoti, sure, it looks very beautiful and colorful and cultural. But if some of our members who are greeters or representatives are wearing regular like shirt and pant, that's also okay. So make people feel that it's okay to come in non-Indian clothing. If there are rituals and of course the artis and so on, it's good to have some posters that can explain. You can have a little booklet that explains what we're doing, or actually provide a brief explanation in your announcements every now and then. Prasadam, when you serve it out, like a lot of temples I've seen, they put a menu and they write what each of the items mean. Like, it'll say halwa, but then it'll tell you, toasted semolina and butter and something like that. It'll actually explain what it is. It's good to give vegan options. A lot of vegan people do come exploring, and they are one of our key audiences. So it's good to have some options that accommodate vegans. not too spicy. We've heard many stories where, very curious seekers are really turned off because every single item is so spicy. So these are things that can be done without too much effort. Other things I've seen happen, like when I went to visit Montreal, they have a parallel session in French and another session in English, of course. Most likely in our area it'll just be English, but it could be a separate smaller session for newcomers or those who want to get an orientation or something. Brooklyn does that. Another thing that we could be doing, you have the welcome desk devotees, but you also have trained devotee ambassadors who are trained in all these things, who know how to talk to newcomers, who make people feel welcome. So they're always on the lookout. Like they know who are the regulars, and then so they're trained. They know what to say, what not to say, and they sit with them. Maybe they walk with them. They give them a tour or something like that. They give explanations, answer any questions. So people feel like they are given attention and they are given some kind of care. That makes a huge difference. They can take them to the bookstore if you have one and just show the books. This is very, very powerful. Announcements, of course, we want to make them in English, but also find devotees whose English is very clear and crisp. Some of our senior devotees, yes, they're very senior, they're wonderful in so many ways, but announcements is not their forte. Seniority and the philosophy and their seva and will be top notch, but we want to find devotees who can give clearly understandable announcements that everybody in the audience can relate to and so on. Lectures, again, as much as possible, the lecturers should be newcomer friendly, as far as possible jargon free, where you don't make assumptions that everybody knows what the words we're using in the English language, and we toss in prasadam, karma, dharma, it's your dharma, it's my seva. You say seva and they're like, say what? No. So like that, we can be a little mindful of that. And then we want to welcome people. Like, you don't look up and down at them. Oh, look at you wearing jeans. Who wears jeans at a temple? Without saying it, sometimes people say that with their eyes. Guests may do that, but at least we should not as leaders, and we should want to train devotees to really make it a welcome experience. All right. So, next steps. Let's take this list back to your temples, and we will share these notes with all of you, so you don't need to worry about that. Make changes. Come back and report next month. What did you try? What do you feel good about? What do you think worked? What didn't work? What is actually harder to implement than you thought, and so on. So at this point, I can open up for a minute or two if anyone has any immediate thoughts or questions or comments. We have a lot of material. I just want to keep it going. At the same time, I do want to keep it somewhat interactive. Anybody have any immediate comments or questions?
Haribol Prabhu, my obeisance over Prabhupada. There's one thing that I started in our temple in Harrisburg. I think I started it, last year or this year, I don't remember. But I took the idea from a Christian church. I always go to, when I visit my family in Maryland, I go to church service with them. And there's one particular church that I've noticed, and it really touched my heart, is when they have the announcements made, they would have everybody in the congregation turn to their left. I think other people must have seen it in our temple. We would turn to our left, turn to our right, and the person in front and back and welcome them.
Oh, that's
so nice. I started doing that in our temple because sometimes, at least those of us on the front line of leaders, we can't get to everyone. But what I've learned is by doing that, everybody gets welcomed. And, so it's like such a nice, and when I'm up front and I see that show, it's so powerful.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a nice idea. Yes.
So I started that at my temple, and every Sunday, and it really works.
Awesome.
Such a nice, sweet exchange.
Brilliant. We'll make a note of this, and we'll definitely share it. Thank you so much, Anasuya.
Yeah, well, real quick, DC does the same thing. Ananda Vrindavan every week. I think she says turn and greet one or two people, and I think people like it. I was going to suggest, Madana-gopāla, it might be helpful if you made up some kind of scorecard. Like, how are we today? So you rank the temple. Well, we're really good on announcements, but we're horrible on diversity as far as food. It's spicy hot every single week. And then, note something. I know Vayner's making notes here, some way where they can measure, because otherwise they say, yeah, we're pretty good. Well, how are you in 4 weeks? Well, yeah, we're pretty good. It's like, well, what happened? But, so we can really measure. So, we're a 3 out of 10, but now we're a 9 out of 10 or something like that. I think a score sheet would really help.
Wonderful. Yes, a scorecard, and you score yourself. Yeah, you get a sense.
Yeah,
Try to
score
be
the
honest.
temple.
You try to
Score
be
the
honest
temple.
yourself. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful. Nitya Kishori.
Hare Krishna. I'm semi-hijacking this meeting, so please excuse me. And I don't know how much time we have for this, but I just wanted to throw one more thing.
We like Texans. It's okay.
Okay, thank you. So I really appreciated the points you made, Madana-gopāla, and I just wanted to add that if many of those were implemented, the situation will certainly be better. And it's a very intentional effort to be more welcoming to new people. At the same time, I would like to maybe suggest or throw in there that perhaps we create a completely new space for newcomers, at least for the initial contact. Like if you meet a new person on the street or anywhere that we meet new people, or if we invite people online, even with many of the things that you suggested, considering where we are right now in many of the North American temples, and I'm assuming in your zone it's the same, even though I'm not physically there, it's still a very large, what would you call it? Like it's a huge jump for someone to walk into a Hare Krishna temple today with the way it is right now, with the ratio of the demographics, with most of the people being very culturally comfortable in that space and being
even
dressed a
optically,
certain way.
yeah, even optically, you won't feel like you belong there. Just looking at it, no matter how well you welcome.
Exactly that. And when you walk into a temple, and we all have done that, we've given tours at our temples and welcome people to the temples, but many of the questions turn into, oh, what do you have on your forehead, and what are the deities, and and then they ask questions about why is the fire being offered, and why is it. So all the questions revolve around the rituals and the deities and things that don't make people feel like this is a universal message that is relevant to them and easy for them to receive. So I think maybe I'm just proposing this, and of course, just thinking from my own experience, that if we think of the first contact to be in another center or meeting place or something that's not the temple room, even if you also mentioned something about doing events on another night. You mentioned Thursday night.
That's the Thursday program we're talking about, on a different space.
Yes. Right. So
yeah, we're going to talk about that quite a bit. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that program in a different space might be the best place to bring people for the first time. And after they've already learned that, oh, wow, this is universal message, I can totally relate, here are people that I can connect with, then think of how to move them. And of course, in the meantime, prepare the temple space to be more welcoming. So just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, this is an absolutely perfect, spot-on segue to our Thursday proposal, for sure. And we're going to explore this quite a bit at depth. But that's perfect. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Nitya Kishori. Anand Rupa Mataji, followed by Advaita Pran Prabhu. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu's obeisances, glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Varanga. I wanted to quickly update that ever since we started talking about this, I've been working with our community president here, Anand Vrindavaneshwari. And actually, I managed to set up a table here for Sundays. I discussed with her at length, and so we are also working with a point of contact to get together a team of those volunteers who are not necessarily long-time devotees, but are super enthusiastic, good with English, and from diverse background. So we can give them some kind of orientation. And many times, the youth are interested for whatever reasons they want service hours, and there is an interest they can give once a while, 2 hours on Sundays, once in few weeks, like that. So we are forming a team already placed, actually based on the inputs I have observed in the past meeting. So I have managed to have some information sheets. We are working on a pamphlet as well as a map. There's not a lot of things like big farm community like New Vrindavan, but we do have like a cow area and multipurpose hall and old temple and prasadam area. And mostly people who have been coming to table, often they are new people to the temple who are coming first time.
I'm jealous of your cow area. We don't have a cow area.
Yeah. So I wanted to just quickly share that it is not only the visitors like coming first time, often it's within the congregation, devotees who have been there for many years. They also have a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
And many times, some of these existing congregation members start thinking about their spiritual lives more seriously, and they need inputs. And like few came up asking, where do I go from here? Like, what are the next steps? How do I start reading books? Okay, there is a table every Sunday and we can get books, but what next? So there are all kind of questions people come up with. And so it's really helpful if we can already work on the team part also, because often every Sunday it's not possible for the same person to be available. So having a team out there. And that point I really appreciated, you mentioned that we may like to think someone's senior who can easily address all questions, but not only just after the Sunday talk or during the Sunday talk, even at the welcome area, wherever that is set up.
They need
That's
to be trained. Like I mentioned, trained ambassadors.
yes.
So and New Vrindavan has a pamphlet, a little pamphlet booklet that has a lot of the most frequently asked questions answered very beautifully. So maybe that could be standardized. That's
Yeah, and then one more last point I wanted to mention regarding how do we measure that? We just talked about it. So I have already thought of the way I want to start doing that is have some sort of survey on. I have a link ready. Also have it available on an iPad. So if they do have time right then and there to just stick on, just select few buttons on that survey that gives us information. What are they looking for? How is their experience? Things like those. That gives further inputs. What are the areas we may need to work on and make the information accessible?
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful points. Awesome. Appreciate it. Yes, Advaita Pranprabhu, please go ahead.
Everybody, one quick point. Thank you so much for your shares. And as you rightly mentioned, right, many of those things that you mentioned are low-hanging fruits and they are no-brainers. However, in the corporate world, I was just trying to compare and contrast to see like there are certain audit groups who kind of audit and kind of give what the best practices are. And since many, I really apologize. Sure. I really apologize for that. But since there are certain audit groups, is there something that happens in North American temples where they look at the websites and give best practices, like one group that goes around, or is it something we want to do individually?
You're part of that group right now, Prabhu. Welcome to the Pioneer Club.
This is the working group. The working group does auditing as well. Well, starting now. I'm just adding it to our list.
I think he just volunteered to lead up the auditing subsection.
No, that'll be great. Like you could help us write auditing best practices, and then not just auditing best practices. We could and should just look at all the websites. We don't even need to ask permission to look at websites. We just look at them and then we can discuss them and share. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Good point. Because we want to help each other here. That's one of the things about the conference that we had in March was we want to help each other. It creates a sort of unity. We don't shame each other. Look at your website, that's so pathetic. No, we want to help each other and come closer and so on. So yes, wonderful points. Okay, I'm going to move on to our next. This is only 1 hour meeting and we've already gone to 35 minutes. So the next part of it is the Think Gita pilot. So it's basically a tool. It's a platform that was put together. It was launched just in 2023. It's not even that old, and it was co-founded by S.B. Keshav Swami Maharaj. And it has rapidly grown to become the #1 place in the world to learn the Bhagavad Gita. See, the strategy is to meet people where they are. It's a lot of, you start out with online and so on, and you present the Bhagavad Gita in modern language as a self-help tool to help improve all facets and parts of your life, like career, relationships, and mental health, and so many aspects. Just some basic numbers. In just 3 years, you can see how quickly they've grown. 25,000 plus course participants have taken courses. Okay, 100 plus retreat goers per year. They have 70 plus active volunteers. 10 languages all over Europe, UK, Europe. They have this thing known as weekly circles. After they go through the course, they form circles. There's 250 plus circles, and so on. 15,000 newsletter subscriptions. The typical, this is like a typical audience member. This is not a real person, but is a typical audience person. 30-year-old Western person from Chicago, and works in an office, like cycling, barbecuing, recently divorced, quit smoking, is questioning his life. He listens to Sadhguru, Robin Sharma, Jay Shetty. He's a bit of a seeker, takes interest in Eastern spirituality, tries to meditate maybe, and finding out how the principle of Gita can help is one of his goals. And this is relevant to him. The Gita is famous already. If it's relevant to him, it can be relevant to anyone across the globe. So this is the evolution over here. Stage 1 is we use very sophisticated social media like Facebook and other targeting techniques to attract people, different segments. We can target segments, attract people to these online courses. Usually short 3-part intro sessions, that lead to more in-depth courses for someone who wants to go deeper. These are run by well-trained facilitators. By the way, they also have a packaged standardized training, so you can go through the training to become a facilitator. And so you have a turnkey teaching material. You got the slides, everything ready to go. You don't have to invent anything. You don't have to do that much work in creating anything. You just follow the formula. And then stage 2, you have Gita circles. These are the smaller groups. So, you develop friendships as you come week after week. So these are longer running sessions. And a sense of friendship and camaraderie develops. And once that forms a little, circle of friends, then you go to stage 3, where they offer different kinds of retreats. Actually, stage two is retreats. Where like retreats are like India and other locations, or even just something in the Northeast, where they go for a weekend or maybe a week in India, and they've done quite a few of those, and that strengthens the friendship even further. And then you go to stage 3, where you have this bhakti circles. The leaders are running their own circles. Now this is stage 3 is just now picking up in the UK where it started. So this is a much more advanced, more mature stage, but they've already identified how it's going to evolve. At this stage, this is a stage now where the participants are brought to the local temple, and even that could be probably the Thursday program where there's a soft landing, where they don't feel it's so jarringly ethnic. You see? So that's the experience. So this is how you bring them, and gradually, this is still experimental right here, stage 3, but it is evolving and it's doing really well. So this is something we will discuss for the next time when we go deeper into thinking the Gita, but it's something I want all of you to start thinking about. How could we envision employing this thing Gita in our zone, in our center? Because we have talent, we have devotees who are eager. I mean, all of you have come here because you're interested very much in diversifying our offerings in our centers. How can we really get this to work here, since it's working so well in the UK and Europe? How would the 3 stages, how would these 3 stages, the online retreat and so on, how will they work for us? How are we going to then land the people, the participants in our temple? How and when, so on. How can you involve if you're doing campus outreach like college campuses and so on? That's a nice place to do it. How can we segment our social media audiences to attract them to come and sample this offering? And so there's so many things that we could be thinking about as we meditate on this particular avenue. So to help you with this, this is the website, thinkgita.org. We'll send you this link, of course. Take a look at the website. It's actually quite well done, very beautifully, developed and graphic designed. And in our next meeting, the Think Gita UK project lead, Nishchint Prabhu, very refined gentleman with a very British accent. I mean, you'll enjoy every moment of that interaction, the very posh interaction, if you will, about how Think Gita has evolved, and he'll come and present more details. But you can be thinking about it right now, and we can talk to him in depth, and you can offer him suggestions, he can offer you suggestions, answer all your questions. We can do some brainstorming and how we can collaborate to maximize this diverse outreach in Zone 2. So after exploring this website, prepare some questions in advance for Nishchint Prabhu for next month, and for some suggestions how a pilot could work in your center, in your locality. All right, so this is just to whet your appetite, to get you thinking about it, to start exploring it. But we will go very deep into it. We'll have a whole session just to go deep into this. Today's session is to give you an overview of some of these key ideas, and we'll develop them more in depth. Okay. And then the last bit, after this we'll open it up again for comments and questions, is this Turnkey Thursday program. This is something we didn't discuss at the leadership conference, but we'd like to develop with you because we've seen it's been working really well in San Diego. I was there last year, and I went again this year, and they have this program on Thursdays. Fantastic. And it's packed, but it's very well curated. It's a separate hall. It's a separate building. I mean, it's part of the temple, building community and all that, but it's a separate hall. And it's designed just for this purpose. Very beautifully done. Simple, Thursday evening, because, Thursday evening it's like just about weekend getting started. A lot of people who work remotely, they work remotely on Friday, so Thursday night is almost like the weekend started, and they're a little bit relaxed. Fridays, people generally have plans. Thursdays, most people don't have plans, but they have enough bandwidth to come and explore something. So that's the day seems to work really well. For you, it may be a Wednesday. If for your audience Wednesday works, that's fine. We just call it a Thursday program. The environment is casual, atmospheric. Think electronic candles. Program is completely jargon-free, non-preaching. Even when speakers come, like when I was there as a speaker, they gave me a whole bunch of guidelines. This isn't, you don't say these words, you don't, please try to make it this way, that way. They give some examples, so it's very well curated, even if you have a guest speaker. Take a look at this website, krishnalounge.com. This is San Diego's website, to get a sense of the program and the mood. And then what we want to do for our Northeast zone here is to create a turnkey program. Turnkey meaning it's like a franchise where you give, we really package the whole directions, instructions, what to do, what not to do, pitfalls to avoid, this, that. And and then try it out, really, just execute on it. So, review that. This is next steps for us. Review the website, prepare questions. So then the following meeting, after maybe 2 months from now, we will have the San Diego devotees come, and they'll explain the details of how they do their program, and we can ask them questions. They can brainstorm with us, explore ideas, and it's a good chance they will learn something from all of your ideas as well, so they'll benefit as well in this synergy. So that's the Thursday program. Okay. And that's basically it for this. So anybody have any thoughts, questions, or reflections on these 2 points, the Think Gita and the Thursday program? We can discuss that, and then I'll show the last slide where we just kind of recap everything. Anything, Kishori? No. This is like right up the alley, I think, of what you're sort of saying, right? We need a well-curated landing pad for newcomers. Because if you go on the street, like, I hesitate to call them to the Sunday program. Like, if I meet someone and say, oh, yeah, this is so cool, man, I'm also doing meditation. Can you come to our Sunday? Like, I hesitate to call them to our Tuaco Sunday program. You know?
I don't hesitate. I just don't. No, I'm just
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's hard. And so what I do is I have a home program that I do at my home. I say, come to that, you know? Because I want them at least to, like, a landing pad. Of course, that may not be an option for many of us. But, yes, Mahaprem, please go ahead.
Because I have the luxury of a absolutely tiny quote unquote congregation, you know, there's like 6 of us on a good day. I've been kind of trying to run. We've been doing our Namahatas weekly now, and I've been trying to run them kind of as a really beginner friendly space, you know, and last month we did like a temple visit day. Like we did like a field trip kind of for, you know, because I go down and do service at the Boston Temple once a month, and so I actually took one of our like more steady, you know, she's been coming to our programs for about a year, and I found it a really nice way to like introduce somebody to like the, you know, the temple experience without her getting, you know, overwhelmed by, you know, a giant, you know, crowd of people on a Sunday feast. Like we went down on a Saturday, and, you know, we did the noon arti, you know, we took prasadam, we cleaned the boiler room.
Sorry, which temple did you take them to? Sorry.
Boston.
Okay.
That's the closest one to us.
Sure.
You know, but I thought that was a really nice way. So maybe, you know, I don't know if other people have like Namahatas or home programs or things, but there could be an opportunity there for you to kind of take like a really curated field trip to a temple and just be like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. And, you know, it was really nice because I walked in with her, I showed her, okay, here's Srila Prabhupada, and you pay your obeisances like this, and here's some flowers, you can offer them to his feet. And, you know, I was able to like really walk her through and teach her how to take Charanamrita and all, you know, all that kind of stuff in a really like comfortable one-on-one way. So I'm just putting that out there. If anybody does home programs or anything like that, that might be, you know, something you can do with like a small group of people who might be ready to go to the temple.
Wonderful. Yeah, that sounds like so much fun because you feel like you got something done. You took them somewhere. It's a unique, exotic experience. Baba Grahi Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. So you discussed about the Bhakti circles. We actually have a Bhakti circle program here at the Philadelphia Temple. We ran, I think, 3 of them a couple months ago. Simultaneously, I actually did one on a Tuesday. It was a men's group. We had about four of us that showed, and I believe we got the content right from the Bhakti Center. I think it was kind of orchestrated by Kastuba. Up there, Kastuba Das.
Sure.
Wisdom
of the Sages, yeah.
Yeah, every week we'd have like a different verse from the Bhagavad Gita that we would discuss, and we'd have different topics, you know, schedules and routines, you know, stress levels, very common topics that we would go through, and it would be very nonchalant. We'd kind of read the Gita verse and then just open discussion and talks for about an hour. I'm actually going to be in one tomorrow, and we're going through Gita 3, the Gita 3 book. I actually missed the first week. I wasn't available to hit the first week, but again, the impression I get, it's a very laid back kind of open discussion, and it's not super philosophical. So with something like that, new, older, devotees, whomever, it seems like a good fit. So if anyone wants to leave me an email, I can kind of send the 8 weeks of agendas that I went through last time, if that helps.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, so we can see these things that are already working. We want to add more structure and make it more powerful.
Madana-gopāla, is that the same Bhakti Circles
It's not
program?
exactly the same. I think this might be related, but it's related though.
Is that Raghunath's?
This might be wisdom circles, right? Or
Yeah.
Sage, I think they call them sage.
Sage groups.
Yeah.
Sage group.
Right?
Sage group.
Yeah, wisdom of sage. Similar concept wise.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we took that and kind of branched off of the sage groups that the Wisdom of the Sages crew was running.
Yes. That's the concept. Thank you so much. And so this is kind of similar. Yes. Anandrupa Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus. So I really liked thoughts which were just shared and earlier. What we are talking about, how to go about Think Gita at different levels. I think most of the temples, they have been having some sort of workshops or seminars or Sunday talks, at different levels. But specifically, we can integrate giving this experience to the newcomers. For example, in DC, we have Bhakti Lounge. And in addition to other things which go on during the Sunday feast and after that, before the Sunday feast, after the Aarti. And so I was thinking that different Namhata groups and book distributors can play a vital role with this initiative actually, if they can be trained.
That's the idea. Yes.
Yeah, to what level they can. And so actually, this Think Gita and Namhata programs can be actually the bridge between welcoming the newcomers, initial curiosity to deeper engagement. So seems like it would be also a good idea if there can be a presentation done, specifically aimed at with this purpose and meaning. And for example, Vaisheshika Prabhu, he likes to give so many tips, like strategies of effective book distribution, inviting someone to the world of Srila Prabhupada's books, and of course, Bhagavad Gita being one of them. So starting from the point where someone is handed even books on the road or, different locations, they can be referred to such venues where they can get more exposure to think about Gita and then get deeper engagement depending on their interest. And so it's not right away, coming to temple, starting pushed into chanting, reading, devoting.
We want to actually avoid that. We want to avoid that, but
Yeah.
that's specifically. But we want to give them a place to come. These are the various options,
So yeah, this is actually very good. It's just a different name and sounds every few years, if we can come up with a very refreshing subject around, how to share, how to invite those who are seeking towards spiritual life. And this Think Gita initiative is yet another name, though we, like I said, and we are hearing, we have Bhakti circles, we have Bhakti lounges, that gives a different name and it is open to everyone. And there's so many things which can be discussed in that. Everybody feels welcome.
Yes, that's the idea. Thank you, Mataji. So just wanted to review. These are assignments or homework or thoughts that we should try to do for the next few weeks. Review your own website and your own Facebook pages. How are you wording things? See whether
Your own Prabhu means like the temple or the community you're in. Yes.
Yes. Your own centers, temples, communities. You have some kind of communication in terms of platforms. You'll have probably a website. You'll have Facebook pages or Instagram pages. Review them to see how even the posters that are going up. There's nowadays everybody makes AI posters. Please don't make the cringy AI posters please don't generate Prabhupada's images with that. It really doesn't come out nice. That's just a humble request for all of you. But
the same yucky people looking all blissed out, like you convinced these people definitely brainwashed to. That's what AI does to them.
Yeah, right. So yes, but those posters you generate, what are the words that you're putting into them? What are the prompt engineering you're doing? Really review those things. Try to put yourself in the shoes of a complete newcomer who doesn't have the either Vedic or Indian background, and see if it makes sense at all. See if it's at all appealing. Don't assume that exoticism is itself appealing. It may not be. Okay, so review the websites and think of it. Maybe discuss it with a few devotees. Make notes of it and bring it. Make changes right away. Second point is the Sunday Feast Easy Changes list that we talked about. Review the list. Try to implement what you can. Add to the list with your own ideas and observations. We came up with so many today. And bring it up for discussion. Share it. Oh, speaking of sharing, maybe we should create a WhatsApp group if you're into it for this group. And we can be sharing ideas and bouncing ideas if you like. Not everybody likes WhatsApp groups, but
we are on a WhatsApp group. We spared you from it.
Oh, we are? Okay, good. So yeah, then share these ideas because we're going to be thinking about it. And then do check out this Think Gita website that we're going to share with all of you. Take a look. Take a look at the website of Krishna Lounge. See how they're wording things. See how inviting they are. And then please prepare questions and suggestions for the next meeting, the Think Gita pilot. And then, of course, the following meeting after that is the Thursday evening turnkey program, the Bhakti Lounge, Krishna Lounge, however you want to name it. But see what elements we can incorporate. So when you meet somebody on the street or in the train or in the bus or you just even in the plane and you have a business card, you can keep 1 or 2 business cards. Depending on their background, you may want to give the Sunday Feast invitation or the Thursday program invitation. The cards will look a little different and the point people will be different probably. And that's the whole idea. Is especially because we have a facility, right? We should use it on other days. It's not that we only use it for a few hours on Sunday and that's it, So we already have that overhead. Let's think of some ways where we can do this and make it work. So yes, Anutama Prabhu, please go ahead.
Just a short thing, just thinking that that this is very helpful. I really appreciate it. Also, the devotees that are reviewing the websites and are trying to see what changes, I would think that means they're going to talk to their local webmaster.
Yes.
They're going to talk to the Sunday Feast organizer, try to get some changes done. So they may want to keep track because probably amongst us, we will run into some obstacles, whether it's the cook that only knows how to cook chole or the website person that only knows how to put D. So we should keep track of some of those and give feedback to each other because there may be things where Madana-gopāla as a zonal supervisor or maybe there's somebody here who's a really good chef can share recipes or there's other ways we can help you out when you face obstacles. So if you run into those, don't be discouraged. Just come back and let's share obstacles as well and talk about how we can overcome those collectively.
Yes, thank you so much. Because these obstacles will be multidimensional. They'll all be related, but it could be something as simple as we don't have the ingredients. All we have is hing, or whatever, right? So we can help you there as well with recipes and so on. And Venu Mataji said we'll send out a scorecard, like Anutama Prabhu suggested, so we can keep track of where we're improving and also track of specific ideas that you're coming up with. So it's 8:30. And we ended right on time, which is very unusual. Thank you very much for your kind attention and your valuable time. We hope that this was useful. We hope that it generated some enthusiasm and some ideas in your heart to push this forward. And hopefully this can help us substantially achieve our growth goals and touch many more hearts in our...
Madana-gopāla, you missed one really important part.
Yes.
Well, once Venu sends out the scorecard, whoever has the most improved temple in any one of the items gets a free bowl of chole.
Free bowl of chole.
Yes.
Nice.
Honestly,
it's like, no, I'll give you the bowl. It's like, yeah, you come to me, I'll give you the bowls. Yes, no, thank you so much. So please feel free to share your thoughts, all right? Shana Krishi Prabhu, thank you for your enthusiasm and your tears. And we will see you all next month. We'll announce, of course, when we'll have the next meeting. But please stay tuned and see if we can bring some more devotees into this circle. Much appreciated. And thank you, Anuttama Prabhu, for your time as well. We know.
Thank you, everybody.
Very
Really
precious.
important. Good progress.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Prabhupada.
Take care.
Haribol.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Bol.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna, thank you.